Good boy. We take a lot of things for granted these days. Lighting, for example. How valuable was a simple torch once upon a time? It would have been a lifeline. Before Edison, before electricity, street lamps were lit by fire. Coal gas fire. Dirty, smoky, hissing like a furnace. But this was one of Canada's first steps into building a real energy infrastructure. In 1838, Montreal lit its first streets with coal-made gas. Toronto followed in 1841, Halifax in 1850. That was the beginning of Canada's nights under flame, when the dark finally broke. Now let's not dress this up too pretty. Coal gas, sometimes called town gas, was filthy stuff. They didn't drill for it. They cooked it in big iron drums called retorts. They'd load them up with coal, light hardwood fires under them, and bake it like a pig roast gone wrong. The coal would sweat out a thick, nasty vapor that was piped off, cleaned as best they could, and sent down the line. They ran it through some pretty crude scrubbers like water baths, lime filters, just enough to keep the pipes from clogging with tar. The first street lamps burned a weak, yellow flame, stank of sulfur, spit soot like a wood stove with the dampener closed, blackened the glass, blackened your hands, and if you breathed in too deep, well, you might not wake up. Carbon monoxide killed a lot of good workers back in the day. Imagine walking down the street where every lamp hissed, smoked, and barely lit the ground at your feet. That was the start of street lighting in this country. Now, none of those lamps lit themselves. Every evening, blue-collar soldiers of the night would make their rounds, the duties of the lamplighter. They carried long sticks, sometimes with a sparker on the end, sometimes a little pilot burning. Some lugged ladders on their backs. Others had brass and iron wands with a wick burning. They'd reach up, trim it, light the lamp, and move on. One lamp, and then the next, and so on. It was gritty work. Rain, snow, wind, it didn't matter. Every single night. The kids used to follow them down the street, just to see a little burst of fire when the lamp caught. That was the show back then. No Netflix. Just the sparks on the corner and the smell of burning gas in the air. Then came 1853. Trois-Rivières, Quebec. This little river town went and built something the whole world took notice of. A natural gas pipeline. Now let's get our heads wrapped around this effort. The good old boys back east laid a cast iron line stretching 25 kilometers by hand. Hand-dug trench, hand-laid pipe, piece by piece. Hammered, tarred, joined, buried. Horse and wagon hauled out those heavy sections. Horse and wagon. I promise you, we cannot fathom the labor. They didn't drill a well. They didn't have compressors or pumps. They tapped different seeps. Natural gas leading right out of the ground, from the coal and shale under their boots. Picture an upside-down funnel stuck over a crack in the earth, catching all the gas bleeding up from the ground. From there, the cast iron line carried it all the way into town. They moved that gas the old-fashioned way, thermal expansion driving flow. The heated up gas from the retorts would expand into the pipeline. As it cooled off and contracted, it kept the flow pulling forward. Along the line, gasimeters, big storage bells, rose and fell with the pressure, helping smooth it out and keeping the gas moving forward. more dirty coal gas. No, this was the real deal. Methane, natural gas, straight from the ground. It burned brighter, steadier, cleaner. A light you could finally trust. At that time, this was the longest pipeline in the world, built right here in Canada. That's a good boy. And yes, natural gas and oil seeped, vented, and blew out of the ground all around the globe until we started drilling into this planet and bleeding off that pressure. We sure don't talk about that very much. Trois-Rivières, Quebec wasn't a big city, but it lit the way forward. Literally. That pipeline didn't just feed lamps. It was the first step toward the oil and gas industry that would fuel Canada's growth and prosperity, right through to today and every century to come. From dirty coal to clean methane, from lamplighters with sticks to iron pipelines stretching miles. That, my friends, is a story of the spark that lit Canada's energy legacy.